Hi, Linley. I'm Debbie from the first-year water elemental class. Nice to meet you. A tall, blonde girl approached and greeted Linley with a smile. Nice to meet you. Linley wasn't used to saying much to strangers. Sorry, I've got training to do. After saying that, Linley signaled to his three brothers that it was time to go. Debbie was left with a disappointed frown. The Tetrad Treasury, established by the Western Dominions, had branches spanning the entire continent. Only the affluent could afford to open a crystal account at the Tetrad Treasury, as the application fee alone costed 100 gold bucks, a sum that most people would be reluctant to part with. 10,000 gold bucks would fill 100 small bags. Even a larger sack used for storing rice would be half full, and it would be quite heavy. Just like that, 100 bucks were gone. Linley sighed as he walked out of the Tetrad Treasury branch located within Oakfield Institute. In his pocket, however, was a newly acquired crystal account card. He had realized that keeping a large sum of bucks in his dormitory at the Institute was unsafe, so he decided to convert it into a crystal card for security. The production cost of these cards was quite high, as alchemists had invented them over the past few centuries. The cards utilized the concept of each person's unique palm print, ensuring that each card could only be used by the person who was issued it. This exclusivity is why the application fee was set at a steep 100 gold bucks. With these 10,000 bucks, my living expenses at the Institute will be more than covered. I can even help out my father now, Linley thought, feeling delighted. Grant had his arm around Linley's shoulder, whistling happily as he glanced at Troy, Evan Powers, and the others nearby. The four of them pooled their remaining funds for living expenses, leaving them with less than 1,000 bucks in total. Fortunately, with the academic year nearing its end, this amount would suffice. Nathan and Peter were laughing and joking, teasing Linley playfully. However, in reality, neither Nathan nor Peter had faced significant hardship. Hey buddy, tomorrow's the end of the month. My dad's team will be coming over. I can arrange a carriage and some bodyguards. How about the four of us taking a trip throughout Celestial City? Grant proposed. Like a tour? Nathan, Peter, and even Linley were visibly excited. Celestial City was a place of unparalleled prosperity. That sounds great, Nathan quickly agreed. When I hurried from West Haven to the Institute, I spent 2 days in a rest house here, but never actually got the chance to visit any parts of the city. Peter and Linley nodded in agreement. There are quite a few good spots in the city. Tomorrow I'll take you guys there and show you around, Grant said with a grin. Early the next morning, Grant took Linley, Nathan, and Peter to have breakfast, then headed straight to the front gate of the Institute to wait for his father's convoy. After waiting for about 2 hours, the convoy still hadn't arrived. Nimbles chirped from his perch on Linley's shoulder. Even Nimbles is getting impatient. Grant, you dragged us out here early in the morning and the convoy still hasn't arrived? Nathan complained. Grant smiled apologetically. I don't know either. They should be here by now. Linley patted Nimbles' head. Hold on, they're here, Grant exclaimed. Nathan, Peter, and Linley looked into the distance, and sure enough, they saw 4 horse-drawn carriages and a bunch of knight escorts rapidly approaching. Above them, 7 or 8 griffins soared, while among the knights a dozen rode dire creatures, some on fierce iron bulls, and others on wind wolves. Even a single convoy from the Grants is this impressive, Linley marveled. Nathan and Peter were visibly excited too. Dennis appeared and sat next to Linley, basking in the sunlight. His eyes lit up at the sight of the convoy. In no time, the 4 carriages and the knights arrived at the academy gates. 3 mages from the academy promptly came to greet them. A middle-aged man stepped down from the first carriage. Instead of addressing the mages, he walked directly to Grant. Uncle, why did it take you so long to arrive? Grant said, displeased. Were you getting impatient waiting? Don't worry, I've got your carriage ready. It's the last one, and I'll have the cargo unloaded. You guys can head to Celestial City. Grant's uncle smiled and said, Curtis, take 3 men and ensure Master Grant's protection, his uncle commanded. In the distance, a bald knight dismounted and approached Grant. Curtis Blair, greetings, Master Grant, he said respectfully. Dennis was visibly excited. He turned to Linley and said, It would seem that your friend Grant is quite influential. Just from the way Curtis dismounted and walked, I can tell his strength far surpasses your instructor, Hillman. He's truly skilled. And that hawk on his shoulder is an impressive creature known as the Emerald-Eyed Hawk, a Tier 7 dire creature. Dennis's assessment of Curtis Blair highlighted his exceptional skills and expertise. Linley, come on, let's get on the carriage and head to Ravenwood, Grant called out. Linley and the other two immediately followed and entered the spacious carriage one by one. With plenty of space inside, the four of them sat comfortably without feeling crowded at all. The coachman promptly set off, driving the carriage towards the Celestial City. Meanwhile, Curtis and the other three escort knights rode alongside the carriage. Inside the carriage, they discovered various fruits and even some sealed bottles of fine wine stored in the cabinets. The four boys indulged in the refreshments while having lively conversations. The journey from the Institute to the city was just over 20 miles down the mountains, and after about half an hour, the carriage arrived at the heart of the city. As they disembarked from the carriage, Linley and his friends began exploring the marketplace. Curtis and the other three escorts ensured their safety throughout the journey. Hey, where should we go now? There are plenty of fun places in and around the city. The East Gate has quite a few upscale venues with attentive service. And in the western part, there are many art galleries like the famous Cynosure Society, Grant said. Beautiful girls attending to us? Great. Let's go to the East Gate. Nathan's eyes lit up, despite his young age. Well, it's still morning. Those places are more interesting at night, but if you want, we can go now, Grant said with a laugh. Linley hesitated about visiting those places and suggested, Grant, let's skip it. I don't think that's the best use of our time. You mentioned the Cynosure Society earlier. It's named after Sage Thornton, so it must be quite remarkable. Let's go check it out. Sage Thornton was the most renowned sculptor in the history of the known world. Sage Thornton? I've heard of him too. They say one of his works was once sold for hundreds of thousands of gold bucks. I think it was called Hope. That's some serious money, Nathan said with an impressed expression on his face. Peter confidently added, throughout history, countless sculptures have been created. Among the most valuable, each of the top 10 sculptures is valued at millions of gold bucks. Out of those, Sage Thornton alone has 3 pieces, making him the greatest sculptor of all time. Linley gasped in astonishment. Millions of gold bucks? That was an astronomical sum. Even if his family sold their family home, they could probably only scrape together about 300,000 bucks at most. Let's go and see. Maybe we'll get to see something really amazing, Linley said eagerly.
Wait, that's not the end. You've just had a free taste. Now get the full story on the Pocket FM app, link in description. Check out our next video and playlist, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.